Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my Hangout. If you've been following along, you'll remember in my last video, I just finished my arc chop treatment. I'd done my closeout video on that last treatment, and I honestly thought that chapter was closed. I figured life was going to move forward, and I'd be making videos about everything except cancer. Well, life had other plans. Today, I want to give you a very honest update where things stand right now and what my latest scan showed and what's coming next. Before I get into the details, I want to say something important. I actually feel okay. I have minimal pain, and when I say minimal pain, I have a few ouchy pinches here and there, but nothing that would cause me to end up taking any medication for it. I don't have any night sweats at all, and I don't have any major weight loss. Frankly, I wish I would lose a few pounds though. But anyway, that may happen. That's what makes all of this really confusing because how I feel and what the scans are showing are two very different things. So here's what happened. I had a PET scan back in November. Then I met with my oncologist in early March and she wanted another scan. The scan back in November wasn't really the best we were hoping for, and we were a bit concerned that there's underlying cancer going on that we really didn't know much about. So after I met my oncologist this past March, I had done another PET scan a few weeks afterwards. And the results show that lymphoma is not only still very active, but it's spread to a few more areas. I still have my retroperitoneal mass, which is the mass in behind your abdomen or in your abdomen area behind your stomach. And it's larger than before. So in a couple of months, it actually did some growing. But there are a lot of other lymph nodes that are showing up in my chest, my armpits, my groin, my clavicle area that are all highly active for cancer. And believe it or not, there's even a muscle area in my lower back called the psoas. And I'll put that up on the screen. It's PSOAS muscle. And unfortunately, even a very small spot on my spleen. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's not the kind of news that you hope for. But it also doesn't mean things are out of control. I know that's a bit of an oxymoron. It's a little bit confusing because I have all this new cancer, all this new growth, but I'm not in a danger zone yet. So it means that we need to be smart about what comes next. Here's where things get a bit more complicated. Some areas are more active than others. If you've ever had a PET scan, you've probably heard about SUV numbers, and they are associated to an activity score for cancer. For example, if you have like a 6 or a 5, there's not much uptake. It means it didn't take a lot of the sugars that attach themselves to cancer to cause a great deal of concern. It's still cancer, don't get me wrong. But when you start getting into the high scores in the 15s and 15 plus, then it's time to stand up and take notice. So 15 gets your attention. It's like, okay, there's something going on here that really needs to be looked into much better. And strangely enough, if that's the case, it actually opens the door to better treatment options. So instead of guessing, my oncologist and I decided to go after the most accurate answer we can possibly find. We're not going to go back and do just another needle biopsy this time. The reason being is biopsies are just a needle that goes into the cancer affected area and pulls out very tiny, small samples. And these are very, very micro-sized. When you're having it done, it sounds like it's the end of the world because you hear this loud snapping sound each time they take a small piece of the tumor. And in some cases, it'll be enough. It'll be accurate and you won't have to worry about it. But because of the type of lymphoma I have, it can be mixed lymphoma, shall we say. What that means is it can be a very small area that's affected with what's called indolent lymphoma, which is a very slow growing lymphoma, or it could be a very aggressive one. In my case, it was DLBCL. I know that's a lot of letters. So it's diffuse large B cell lymphoma. That's where the DLBCL comes in. In any event, that's neither here nor there. So instead, we're going to actually, this time, go in and surgically remove the entire lymph node itself. That way, the lab can examine the entire thing piece by piece. Because lymphoma can be really sneaky, as I said, and it doesn't really always show itself very clearly in the small samples. We just went through all of that. This is going to give me the best chance of knowing exactly what we're dealing with. And my oncologist, more importantly, my oncologist, she's the one that has to dictate what type of treatments I can get. Once we get those results, there's really two paths forward. If it is still going to be just very low grade and it just happens to be actively low grade, we're going to go with a targeted, really gentle treatment, aiming more to control it than to keep it and to keep it stable, rather than watching it continue to grow. This type of lymphoma isn't always curable, but it can be managed, sometimes for a very long time. If it becomes aggressive, then we're going to move directly towards CAR T cell therapy. I'm saying that slowly because I always mistakenly say CART T cell, which it's not. It's CAR and then the letter T, cell therapy. So that's where you use your own immune system's cells to fight the cancer. And honestly, that would be one of the best treatments I could possibly hope for. Either way, I'm going to be getting top level care for whatever this turns out to be. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is not the update I was hoping to give you guys, but I'm also not discouraged. Maybe a little bit bewildered, because after everything, the ups, downs, the hospital stays, you kind of hope for a smoother road ahead. But my mindset hasn't changed a bit. I don't sit and dwell on it. I just ask, what's next? I think that's a great question because it gives you something really important. It gives you hope. I kind of learned this from my niece, who we sadly lost to breast cancer years ago, but it seems like yesterday sometimes. And she was one that always asked that question. I now understand why she asks it, or she asked it at the time, because she always had hope that something better was going to be just around the corner. So, as we all know, cancer isn't a straight line, but you keep moving forward. And if you're going through something like this, you're not alone. There are a lot of us walking this road, just at different points along the way most of the time. I'll keep you posted as things move ahead, especially once we get this biopsy results. If you've got questions, leave a comment. I read all of them. And if you're struggling right now, try to hold on to the idea that tomorrow can be a better day. I really believe that. So, my friends, I'm Glenn. This is my Hangout. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.